Today I thought I'd post a bonus video for you on what we can expect as landlords in 2020, because there's lots of things that have been bubbling away, lots of talk about what's going to happen on the budget, etc. So I've got my notes here and I'm going to share with you what we can expect, or kind of expect, over the next 12 months. Okay, so let's start. So the first thing that we are going to look at is number one, and that's the mortgage interest rate relief. So that's the removal of the relief that landlords were able to take against their tax on their mortgage interest. Now that's been phased in, I think it's since April 2017. And that's going to be in full force this year in April. So if you have properties in your own name, then unfortunately you are going to see a little bit of a bite when it comes to your personal tax bill moving forwards from April. So that's number one. Number two, the lettings fee ban. So that was introduced last year, and I think this year we will probably start seeing a few fines and a few test cases of people charging fees for unlawful things and for referencing, etc. So that's already in force, and I think, you know, towards the end of this year, most people should be, if they're not already, in fully adhering to the lettings fee ban. Number three, and this is probably going to be one of the biggest ones this year, and that's the Section 21 eviction. So that's the repeal of the no-fault eviction notice, and we're likely to see that come into force in around about August, September this year. If not, then certainly towards the beginning of next year. But it is coming, it's on the manifesto, and it's definitely going to be here. So let's expect that. I don't know what's going to happen. It would be great if we could see some kind of bigger and better Section 8 policy, but nobody's seen anything yet. So we don't know how we're going to replace this. Let's see what happens. Could be an issue. Number four, local licensing. So we are probably going to see a lot more selective and additional licensing schemes roll out across the country. And that's because it can be regulated better. And of course, if it's regulated, then it can be charged for. There's a fee attached as well. So we're likely to start seeing a lot more local and selective licensing coming across the country. So always a great idea to future-proof your portfolio in the event of licensing coming in your area. So when you are doing your HMOs and your new ones, then please start to future-proof and make sure that they are at licensable standard. So in the event of licensing happening in your area, you're already covered. Next element, energy efficiency, so EPC. So from, I think, when was it? It was around about April 2018. You could no longer rent a new property out on a new tenancy if the EPC for the property fell below E. So if it fell below E, you couldn't rent it out for a new tenancy. Well, come, I think it's April this year, just let me check, yes, from April this year, then you can't rent out to anybody, even if they're existing tenants, if your EPC is less than E. So if you have got a property like that now, you do need to make sure that your energy proficiency and your EPC is above E, all right? That's really important, and especially when you're taking on properties, you're part of this program, and you're looking for deals, you need to be aware of that. Okay, next, client money protection came in April last year. That's only really for people that are holding money on behalf of clients. So if you are doing an agency and you're collecting money in that belongs to somebody else, then you need to have client money protect by law. I've written to Client Money Protect and I've explained our rent-to-rent element that we do, and they've written back saying we don't need it for rent to rent as long as the money is yours and you're not holding it on behalf of somebody else. Number 9, last year we apparently were going to be having a rogue landlord database, and that was designed for tenants to be able to go online and check to see whether their landlords were bona fide or whether they were rogues. Now that's been a bit of a damp squib. It's not really happened, and I think, according to the statistics, there were only a small handful of landlords that actually have been registered on there. So the database is currently really non-existent. So we might start seeing a little bit more of that coming into this year. Who knows? Let's just wait and see. Number 10, stamp duty. So stamp duty has been towards the top of the list for landlords since 2016, when the government introduced the 3%. Now, the latest rumours are that the new stamp duty surcharge could be brought in for foreign buyers. So what we're looking at probably is, according to the leaks for the new budget that's coming out in March, is that foreign investors are likely to have to pay more in stamp duty, and rightfully so, I think, because a lot of foreign investors are just banking houses. They're buying them, they're keeping them empty, and they're keeping them as investments, certainly for properties in and around London. So I think we're going to see a spike in stamp duty for foreign investors. And number 11, the Right to Rent Act. So last year it was challenged in the High Court to say that it was fundamentally racist, and there was lots of hype about it becoming repealed and about people going to court, taking the council and the government to court to say it's fundamentally racist, so therefore we're going to repeal it. And then nothing. It just went dead, didn't it? Didn't hear anything again. So I'm going to keep my ear to the ground, but I've not heard anything, which makes me suspect, or makes me think, that it's not going anywhere. It's still going to be around for 2020. So let's just wait and see for that. What else have I got on my list? Property prices. Now, this is my opinion on this. Now, I gave some predictions last year, and I said that we're probably going to have a little bit of a correction, then maybe 3% increase towards this year moving forwards. And guess what? I was right. So now we've had the government change, and we've got solid government now, and we've got the Boris bounce, as it's called, and of course now we know we're going to go into Brexit. It's just a matter of getting it done. Property prices are starting to recover. Now, if we go back historically from 1952 to around about 2008, then historically property was increasing in value about 11% on average over that period of time a year. It's not going up that much now. So currently where we are now, we're looking at about a 1.3% increase. I suspect towards the middle of the year, once we start to get a bit more stabilised, that will go up to about 3%. And on average at the moment, we are looking at a 5% increase over the last 10 years on average. So it's not bad. You know, it's still good. I think this year is going to be an awesome year for rentals. So finally, my last point is the rental market at the moment, according to Zoopla, is really bubbling, and it's really positive because there's a couple of elements. Though the supply and demand levels are actually now a lot less than they were before. So there's less supply now because people are selling their properties owing to the Clause 24 tax. So they're selling them to private individuals, for families, and they're taking them away from the private rental sector. So the supply is a lot less. The demand is higher because the wages are actually increasing at about 3.6%, whereas rents have only gone up to about 2.3 or 2.4% in the same period of time. So Zoopla are predicting a really hot rental market this year. So when people talk about saturation and all of the elements surrounding it, well, I'm not really seeing much of that. My predictions are that property will probably get to about 3% around about June, July time, and then level off towards the end of the year. So I think once everybody gets used to the new government, gets used to Brexit, we're going to see a level in the property market. And I think the rental market is going to be really strong this year. So loads of really exciting things happening for us at the moment. We've got loads of opportunity out there because people are selling off their houses because of the Clause 24 tax, which means that there's more stock available, which means it brings the prices down, which means that we can get hold of property cheaper, which gives us more opportunity to get some great deals. And of course, the rental market at the moment, provided you've got your product right, is really, really strong. So that's my property market update for today. Hope you found that really useful. I would love you to subscribe and like so you can see all of the great workshops that we do. Everything is free here. All I do is give you the information that you really need from the ground, what the markets are actually doing, what all the pundits are saying, and how we can, help you move forwards in your property journey. Thanks. See you soon.